morning. Today is election day, obviously, and so we're going to be picking the outcome of kind of who's going to take over this kind of war we're in with Iraq. I just want to let you guys know that we started it, obviously, for the excuse of weapons of mass destruction. But today I'm here to talk to you about the true weapon of mass destruction. I'm here to inform you, not to persuade you in any way, just to give you some statistics and basic background of some things you may or may not know about the true weapon of mass destruction. So, please, here, let me get the lights for you guys. All right, well, there's a little history behind the true weapons of mass destruction, and that is the Cold War. The Cold War was an arms race between the U.S. and Russia. Now, this created a mass surplus. The arms race left a massive surplus after its end in 1991, the highest in history. Now, Ukraine probably had the highest manufacturing of weapons. When I say weapons of mass destruction, let me clarify that I'm here to talk to you about guns, ladies and gentlemen, guns, because guns is the biggest weapon of mass destruction. And in Ukraine, there was the biggest heist in the world's history, where 19 billion weapons were stolen from military bases and non-commissioned manufacturers. During 1991, after the Cold War, all manufacturing of guns ceased, and there was a surplus left over, which was stolen out of Ukraine. The AK-47 is the highest manufactured gun in the world. It comes from Russia. Next slide, please. It comes from Russia, built by a man named Mikhail Kalashnikov. The gun is also called the AK-47 or the Kalashnikov, or hence the AK. So there are 30 to 50 million copies that have been produced worldwide, making it the largest produced worldwide weapon in the world. It is so big and it is so influential, this gun, that it is put on numerous flags. One is the Mozambique flag. If you look right here, you can see the Kalashnikov is placed on their flag. We have stars and stripes represent freedom of states. They have the Kalashnikov on their flag. Next one, please. Thank you. After 1991, there were a lot of changes in the world. The UN pretty much left Africa after a huge invasion with history. They left Africa without any leaders. They left Africa completely politically unsound. They left with their political influence and then left leaving the country up for grabs, pretty much. They left it basically, essentially, to fail. So what happened in Africa was the Kalashnikov was purchased at very high rates because it was the cheapest gun. In fact, an article by the Washington Post wrote by Larry Kaner states that the AK-47 has become the world's most prolific and effective combat weapon, a device so cheap and simple that it can be bought in many countries for less than the price of a live chicken, and is responsible for 250,000 deaths in the world each year. A good example of what happened after the UN left Africa is Charles Taylor. Charles Taylor was an extremist, an activist, became a warlord immediately after 1991. After the fall of Berlin, he purchased some 10 million Kalashnikovs, handed them to little children, as you saw in the pictures before, that he brainwashed within about an 8-year span. He was president of Liberia from August 2nd to August 2nd, 1997, from August 11th to 2003. He basically took over Liberia with a mass purchase of Kalashnikovs, those guns alone. Murdered and slaughtered many women and children. And as an outcome, became warlord and leader for about a good 5 years. Go ahead, next slide, please. Thank you. This is Lord of War. This movie illustrates the history of arms dealing. It's a pretty good reference if you've never seen it. It kind of got my mind on the topic a little bit. That's something I never even took into consideration or even thought about. It's a very well directed movie. Like it says right here, superb blockbuster with brains. Awesome. And one of the coolest movies of the year. So, next slide. Thank you. Those are my sources. Now, today, there are many, there are many wars started off these weapons of mass destruction, but the real weapon of mass destruction are the ones that are purchased from, Russia. Russia produces they produce two main exports. Their two largest exports is vodka, and then the second is Kalashnikovs. So just to be aware of the situation, think about it a little bit, and don't play with guns. How's that? Thank you.
All right, Michael, the greeting's a little bit awkward, and the phrasing that you have at the beginning of the speech needs to be better planned. I think you could get a better start on this. You keep using the term, the true weapons of mass destruction at the early part of the speech. It's not until you're 1 minute and 31 seconds into the speech that you finally come back and say, oops, I meant to say it's guns, that kind of thing, and that's a little bit awkward. There's not really any preview of what the content's going to be. It sounds like it's organized chronologically, at least from 1991, although the arms trade's been going on for a lot longer than that, but you're focusing on the impact of the fall of the Soviet Union and the impact of all the weapons from the former Soviet states are having. So that's okay as long as you make it clear that that's what you're going to focus on. On presentation issues, you have to turn away from the audience on a regular basis because you are kind of engaging yourself with the slides. You've got a few indicators while you're speaking. I thought you seemed involved with your facial expressions. Your eye contact, I think you're a little more script dependent than you want at this point, and you do tend to face this part of the audience. You've got your back to the person operating the slides for you, and you're standing over there. So these 3 or 4 people over here end up getting a little bit less attention than they might have if you had maybe stepped to the other side. We can hear you, but I still think you need a little bit more energy in your voice. The pacing is not always smooth. It seems like there are some spots where things are going a little bit slow and they're drawn out, not because you're making a dramatic point, but because you're either unsure about how you're getting to the next point or what the next point is. I think you've got a good idea for this speech here, but I think it needs to be put together a little bit more effectively. It needs a clearer structure. It needs a little bit more practice so that it's coming together more fluidly. All right, thank you.